The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
That's West Virginia at Pittsburgh, right? Mm-hmm. So, interestingly enough, in this one, we have two transfer portal SC players, JT Daniels and Slovis, are going up against each other in the first week of football in this situation right here. I thought that was kind of unique, and there has to be a lot, on the portal to make these kind of things possible. I guess it's something we're going to be seeing a lot often.
Yeah, I mean, it is, like you said, it's definitely got a lot of California flavor right there, especially in your backyard. Both of these kids played, on the same team, maybe not at the same time, but pretty darn close to one another. And then, when Daniels went to Georgia, and then now he's sitting up there at West Virginia, to replace Doge up there. And then, of course, Slovis, he went to Pitt, and he was recruited by Narduzzi personally, and he said it was a natural fit. It was like it was a no-brainer for him to make that move to Pitt. So, and the Pitt's offensive coordinator hightailed it out, and he's on Nebraska right now. He's running the Nebraska offense. So, like I say, a lot of moving pieces. So, and we'll hit those as we go along. But yeah, it's a real interesting look in this particular game here. I'll let you break some stuff down, and I'll come back at you on it once you start touching on what you want to touch on. But as far as the portal system goes, I mean, that's a perfect example right there, and the coordinators moving around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll go ahead and break it down. So we got the Big 12 versus the ACC in this one right here. Neil Bound, fourth-year coach over at West Virginia. Pat Narduzzi, eighth-year coach over at Pitt. Now, West Virginia for Brown, he could be on the hot seat after this year if he doesn't show and improve. At this point, there's a new offensive coordinator that he brought in, Graham Harrell, like we talked about with the, those important issues. He did get, as we mentioned, JT Daniels through the portal. He has an offensive line returning 5. So JT Daniels gets a solid line, which is a lot to say from what he was getting in the past. And the running back situation and wide receiver situation kind of going to be by committee for them. Now, on the defensive side of things, there's only 3 returners plus a couple transfer players, and he struggled with the rush and the run. I mean, the pass and the run support last year, and the secondary lost about allowed 23.8 points a game in 2021. And in the condition of them coming back with short players on the defensive end, the offense is a little bit thriving for them. So let's go over to Pitt. Now, Narduzzi, on the other hand, on the offensive side, he just got a contract extension, by the way. But they was exceptional in the 2021 season. They went 11-3, won the ACC, lost a bowl game. They lost a big one in Kenny Pickett, but they gained Slovis. So, if you guys know anything about Slovis, he was coached by Kurt Warner in high school. So that's a big plus. And some of the ways he displays himself as a quarterback, it shows that someone like Kurt Warner helped him out there. But they did lose Wimple, as you mentioned, to Nebraska. But they returned Frank Sign from Boston College. He's a run-first offensive coordinator. He had some dealings with the school way back in 2009 and 2010. The O-line returns 5, all seniors. Last year, they rushed for 149 a game. The running back situation, they returned a trio of running backs, including a little more depth. At wide receiver, they lost a few good ones, gained a few good ones. And over on defense, they have 6 all ACC starters return from last year. And last year, they allowed 89.3 on the ground, but they let 264 go in the air. So
yeah,
I think it's a lot to be said and all that. That's what I got on my notes. Where are you going with it from here?
Those are all good notes. And funny, let's not forget that they get Graham Harrell too over in the West Virginia side from USC. So that's going to kind of rekindle a little relationship there with JT Daniels, for for the West Virginia side of Neil Brown, like you said, his fourth season. But the thing with Pittsburgh, the thing with West Virginia is they're definitely solid against the run, but their passing defense is solid, but the rushing defense is a little suspect. They were ranked 102nd in nationally against the run, and they're giving up about 24 points a game roughly. So they're kind of like their pass defense is decent, but the rushing defense can use a lot of improvement. And a big problem for them was turnovers. They had a big turnover ratio. I think they were like -6, so somewhere in that realm. And they just have to tighten up things on the defensive side. And both teams, if they played this game a year ago, I said it'd be a pretty good over spot without a question. Pittsburgh's side, like you were saying, Narduzzi, his 8th year, they did win the ACC. They had a ton of offense. They got an all-star wide receiver, Jordan Addison. USC tried to NIL this kid, but something happened in legalities that kind of put the brakes on it. Don't ask me what happened. I don't know all the terms or the conditions that happened there, but I know he is staying home at Pitt, so they get him back. And, and they do get Slovis, like you said, and I think they're going to be pretty potent on the offensive side. Defensively, they ranked first and second in sacks nationally, and first rushing yards. So Pittsburgh is about stuffing the run. That's what they do. So if they could try to make West Virginia one-dimensional in that aspect, they're going to be tough to run on because they do have a bunch of starters coming back there. So initially, when I was looking at this game, they got a line of 51.5, I believe, and 6.5 on the line on the side. And I think this as much as the offenses are going to go through changes here, I think there's still enough pieces on the Pittsburgh side, and even with the new look offense that West Virginia is going to bring, I think they're going to improve upon what they had last year. And I think they're going to even be better because they still have a lot of star power they have on the offensive side. Even though it's not top tier, it's still very serviceable, I think. But the thing about Pittsburgh's defense, where they're really weak, is they rank 115th against the pass. So they're going to have to try to make them one-dimensional on the passing side. Force the run, make them the pass a little bit. But that's where their weakness is. So it's going to be give and take for Pittsburgh, and they're going to have to tighten up their passing game. So I see vulnerabilities on both sides of the defense. One against the run, one against the pass. So if they can play off of those angles, and we're sitting here looking at a total of 51.5. And I think we could easily see a 28-24 game here, which kind of puts the game on the over for me. So that's my look on this game. I'm not crazy about the side yet because both offenses are going to be tested. I think they will put up points. I don't know which one is going to cover the number, but I do think we'll see a decent over spot here. I know it's not a real low number, but I think it's low enough. I think we could maybe even see close to 60. If they both play, if Pittsburgh goes back to where they were at, and West Virginia kind of improves upon their on their offense just a little bit. If West Virginia is able to throw the ball, this is an easy over spot.
I like what you're saying over there, but I see the game a little bit different. Although I'm not ready to make a real official play on the whole game. So West Virginia traditionally has been known for good defense, if anything. Smash mouth, tough playing, good defense, those type of things. Since Neil Brown been here, it's been basically the same thing for them. Mm-hmm. But the offense doesn't, they're making the correct changes, but it doesn't really excite me that, they're going to become this scoring machine or anything like that. If anything, they may have reached themselves to a point where their defense can now grow to be a little bit better because the offense can stay on the field a little longer. But I don't think with all the moving parts that is going to result in scoring unless there's some type of scheme or something that Harrell hits there with and, it just shocks everybody and they're able to score like that on the West Virginia side. On the Pittsburgh side, they share some situations on offense as well. but 6 returning All-American stars on defense, they're going to stay in the game with their defense. So I think Pitt will win. I can't say that they're going to cover the 7, but Pitt will win. I can't say that. So overall, my best play is if you're going to play some type of exotic or something, this may be a money line you might want to throw in there, depending on what the number is, if it adds a little value to whatever you have going on. That's probably my best bet with it. But I kind of lean under in week 1 because you're going to have some fumble snaps. You're going to have some – there's a few little things that happen, and it's kind of balanced because at the same time you have fumble snaps, you have kick returns, blown coverages, stuff like that, fumbles. So, they make their mistakes in some of these games with the jitters and stuff. Stuff don't always go the way you think it's going to go. So I lean under, though. I lean under in this. If I had to put a play on it, I'd have to just eat it and take Pittsburgh minus the 7. But my best bet with it will be money line with Pittsburgh.
Money line Pittsburgh, yeah. Well, they're going on the road. West Virginia's going on the road to Pitt to play them. So, I don't have an argument. I think they just still have a ton of weapons available to them. And then I think, like I said, even though they're upstart, newfangled, I don't think so much even though Whipple's gone from Pitt, I think, a lot of the pieces are still there. And like you said, on the defensive side, they were number 1 in the country, 41 points a game. No, first in conference, number 3 nationally, scoring points a game. So even if they take a step down a little bit, I still think, they're going to get like four touchdowns and a field goal, or somewhere in that neck of the woods. And I think West Virginia is going to do what they do. They scored, they're usually 23, 24 points both sides. So we'll see. Like you said, early season, maybe fumble snap, who knows? But I thought it looked a little bit. If this was like a week 2 or 3 game, I think this total would probably be like 54, 55 points.
Yeah, absolutely.
1.5. Might be a little bit to ask, but that was my impression of it. So I'm going to probably – I'm not to the window yet, but I'm leaning that way pretty strong.
Well, I'm going to just add to it if it helps you get to the window or get away from the window. But I believe Kenny Pickett was a 3-year starter over there. And the departure of him, which he was an excellent quarterback, he could even have, a high ceiling somewhere else. But that's a lot to replace. And then coming in with a guy like Slovis, not to say that he doesn't have the talent to be Kenny Pickett or, do what he do, but I think it just takes a little more time.
Yeah.
I ain't going to leave.
It's going to take some time. Without doubt.
I ain't going to put too much on it right there. We early out, and some of these games are not games that we necessarily